Why are some ebook interiors really pretty while others are very plain and don't have any graphics in them? If you're a reader and you have been getting ebooks, you might discover that some are super fancy and looks just like the printed editions of those books, while others are just plain text and there's nothing fancy to be found. Why is that? As an author or a publisher, you have the ability to put your files inside of the distribution platforms like Amazon and Nook and all of those places. Now, some of these platforms actually charge the authors or the publishers per file size to send it out to you. It depends on what royalty rate you are going to be accepting. If you want 70% royalties, you have an actual fee. So based on your file size, you have to pay 20 cents, 30 cents for delivery to our readers. Or if you choose the 35% rate instead of the 70% rate, then you won't have that file size fee to be giving out to people. These entities are saying that the digital distribution costs them, so it then costs the authors or the publishers who are putting those books out. And so you're going to see with ebooks, a lot of people will downgrade the file size, which is what we all try to do. We want to make it fancy for you. We want to give you the same experience as the physical book readers. But sometimes the file sizes are just so big that at that point, we are getting our higher royalty rate, so it's 70%, but because we then have to pay the distribution fee on top of that, we could be making a couple of pennies. Sometimes we would actually owe money, and then we'd have to raise the rate of our book. So we're faced with the options of we have to pay that distribution fee, the digital file fee, if we want our higher royalty rate. But that means we might have to raise the price of our book, or we have to accept a lower royalty rate because it just costs us so much to send it to you each time that you buy it. And so the options here are to make so little money that it's not worth it, or to pull back on the file size so the distribution rate is not as high. That means sometimes we remove the chapter headers or the scene dividers or the pretty things on the inside. We pare it down as much as possible so that you're just getting the story in the context that it was written, nothing fancy to go with it, so that it can be a manageable system of getting you that information, getting you that story without it literally costing us money for you to read our books. It's not fair. It's not fun. It is something that we have to deal with every single time we are listing a book. And that's why you're going to see some things with fancy things and some things without fancy things. And it's based on how much money we're making. If you charge a certain rate for those ebooks, you might actually be able to make some semblance of a profit from your digital distribution with smaller file sizes. And so we will, when we're designing them, when we're formatting them, we will create two different files so that we have one with a smaller resolution and one with a print-worthy resolution so that it's printed properly without pixelation. But the digital files don't have to be as packed with information to display properly on a phone or an e-reader. So we're going to reduce that file size, have two different file sizes and give it out to you. But even with that, some books are so big or so large or contain so much information, and we're trying to keep that price manageable for you, the consumer, that it just isn't feasible for us to put that book out with all the stylistic choices that we would make normally. So we have to pare it back a little bit. So you will see out in the wild ebooks that are really fancy, that look just like the paperback books. You're going to see ebooks that are just the black and white text, nothing fancy in them, and you'll see something in the middle as well. Sometimes we pull out certain elements, but not all of the elements, to keep it manageable for you, because we don't want you to pay a ton of money to get the same thing that we could give you for less if they weren't charging us insane fees for delivering things to you. So you're going to see a lot of different variations. And as an author, you have to make that decision. Are you willing to give up some of your royalties to keep it fancy for your readers? In most cases, I am. I am okay giving up my royalties so that you can get pretty things, but it also means it's not a sustainable business model for most people. So you're going to see a lot of different things. I encourage you to support your favorite authors and make sure you know that you are thrilled with their books no matter which version they have to create in order to get it out to you. They're doing the best that they can. But keep in mind, you are going to see some things that are fancy and some things that are not fancy. And I want you to be very, very clear in your mind that it is not the author's fault. It is not the publisher's fault. Sometimes it's just about how big the file sizes are. And if they can't get it down to something manageable, they're going to have to take away some of the fancy things so that it's sustainable for you to continue to buy books. And it's not going to cost you a ton of money to get access to these books. Questions on this, go ahead and drop it down below. We can talk all about book formatting or how we are making choices as we are distributing our books this out to you, or if you've seen things in books you want to discuss, let me know down below and stay tuned because every single day we are dropping brand new episodes here on the channel to help you navigate the publishing world, the writing world, the reading world to make this your most profitable year ever. We'll see you in the next episode.